This is the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on February 17th, 2012. Our time is 8:53 Mountain, 10:53 Eastern. If you ever miss a radio show, you can catch us online. They're archived at HESradio.com. Also, Harold's website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Another crazy week in the financial markets due to Greece and geopolitical concerns. Will they ever get a deal done with Greece? Let's hope so. Although eventually it seems that there will be a default. That seems to be the way things are pointing somewhere down the line. Also geopolitically, obviously, Israel and Iran. When will Iran be stopped from developing their nuclear program? That is the big question. The United States has said they will not allow it to go ahead. We're just waiting to see how that plays out. Harold, it is a crazy time on the financial markets as a result of all the things that are happening in the world right now, financially and geopolitically.
You bet. You summed it up beautifully, Randy. Don't forget, also, the markets are a little bit thinly traded because it is President's Day on Monday in the States, and the markets are closed, and also Family Day in Canada. So the markets are lightly traded at this point. A lot of people actually went away for the long weekend. But all in all, the markets didn't do too bad this week. In fact, gold is trading in a range right now. Gold is trading between 1710 and 1740. We need to see two closes above 1750, which is really, only $25 from here. Gold can move up $100 in a day. So what we need to see is two closes in a row above the 1750 level. Then we should make a nice run up to 1900, which is the old highs. And then by the end of the year, we do anticipate that we will see anywhere from $22 to $2,500 gold. So obviously we're extremely bullish. A move to $2,500 from where it is right now is an $800 move in gold. That's substantial. That's about a 40% increase. And again, there has to be reasons why gold could make a 40% increase in a year, and there are very strong reasons for that, which obviously we're going to talk about in the show. The silver market's trading right now at about $33.80. $34 is the magic number. We want to see two closes above $34. Then we think that we're going to see a run up to $44. 50 is the high, and then a couple closes above 50 could literally send us to the $60 to $65 level. Again, we're extremely bullish on silver. Platinum is trading at $1,640. Palladium is trading back up to around the $700 level, so palladium's doing well. The oil market we've recommended very heavily over the last year. Oil broke through 100. We're now at 103.50. Oil's been extremely strong so far this year, and as you know by listening to the show, we're extremely bullish on oil. Even without the situation in Iran, I do believe that oil was heading back to $150 anyways. However, the situation in Iran is so severe and so extreme that it could literally push the price of oil to $250 and maybe even $300, which again would not be a good situation for the world economy. But again, it's very possible that it would happen. The U.S. dollar has dropped below the 80-cent level, is now trading at around the 79-cent level. Again, we do think that the U.S. dollar will continue to fall substantially, especially when situations straighten out in Europe. The only thing that's holding up the U.S. dollar at this point is the weakness in the euro, and once that corrects itself, again, the U.S. dollar will continue on the downside. The Canadian dollar is actually above par to the U.S. dollar today as we're taping the show on Friday. So again, the Canadian and American dollar are basically about even, and we do anticipate that the U.S. dollar will continue to fall and the Canadian dollar will continue to strengthen. As I said, gold is trading in a range between 1710 and 1740. We want to see two closes above 1750. We want to see two closes above $34 silver, and then that should really set us on our way. Again, these markets this year could be extremely volatile. Don't forget, gold has moved up 11% already this year, and that's a big start for gold. In fact, it's one of the best moves that gold has made in its history, and silver's moved up about 20% this year. Don't forget, gold was at about $1,550. It's moved up $200 to $250 already this year, and it's only the middle of February. Gold is capable of moving $100 in a day or more. In fact, I'm betting that there will be days within the foreseeable near future that we will see gold go up not only 100 but 150 to $200 in a day, and a day like that could literally bring silver up $3.50 to $4 in a day. If you're not in those markets, you should be in the markets. And the major reason, three major reasons why you really want to look at what's happening in the world financial markets right now, and not necessarily in this order. Obviously, every day it's a sovereign debt situation in Europe. You've got several countries, major countries like France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and Greece, all on the verge of bankruptcy. Personally, I studied that situation pretty closely. I just don't see how in the world it's going to correct itself. I don't believe that there's enough money in the system to bail these countries out. And what they're going to end up doing is dealing with derivatives and bonds and bond insurance and everything like that, and it's going to end up blowing up in their face. So, again, the situation is so severe and so extreme, but again, it's across the pond. We don't, it isn't affecting our daily lives at this point, so, people don't pay as much attention to it as it should, but this is a Lehman-style situation that could literally bring the markets to their knees. And again, there's reasons why people like George Soros and people like him, these prolific investors and these brilliant people, are saying that we could literally see financial Armageddon this year, and that could be a real catastrophe. So again, what we really need to do is be smart about the way that we invest, because if you just stick with conventional investments, you're going to find that you're going to lose out, and you're going to find that you're going to lose most of your money if you're sitting in stocks and mutual funds and bonds and those type of investments. You got the sovereign debt situation in Europe, which is severe. The situation in the United States, for whatever reason, seems to be getting better. Well, I'll tell you the reason that it is getting better. It's an election year, and they try to make everything look better. But the real estate market is in shambles. The employment or the jobs market is in shambles. The numbers are much, much higher than what the government is leaking out at this particular point. And again, people are just not doing well here. And the fact is that by keeping interest rates at zero, nobody can get any returns on investments, and it's not that people are putting away their money in stocks over the long term. They've now become traders. They actually are day trading stocks as opposed to putting away money for the long term, and that's where you're going to see a big difference in the stock market plays over the next year or two. The other major situation, the one we should be paying serious attention to, is what's happening in oil. Again, as you know, we've been extremely bullish on oil. We're over $103 in oil today as we're taping the show on Friday, but the chances of oil going up to $200 or more is real. And the reason for that is that, number one, Iran, because of their nuclear capabilities, and they're thumbing their nose at the rest of the world, are in big trouble. The fact is that the U.S. and other countries have brought major sanctions against Iran that is affecting their economy in a huge way. In actual fact, their currency has plummeted by over 50% since December. That's only 2 months now. Their inflation rate is skyrocketing, and Iran's inflation rate is coming in at about 20% a month, which is 240% a year, which would absolutely destroy that country. On top of that, this week, the U.S. was instrumental in getting the Bank of Settlements, basically that settles oil trades, not to deal with Iran. So basically, Iran's oil is off the market right now, and Saudi Arabia says that they can make up the difference that Iran's oil would mean to the marketplace, but every indication is that Saudi Arabia cannot do that. I don't believe that there's enough oil to make up for that, and the fact is that with Iran's oil off the market, it is going to cause massive problems for countries like China and Russia. So you are going to see some extreme situations. And let's just analyze the situation in Iran at this particular point, because it's so important. And again, these world political situations could really blow up one night when we're asleep, and next thing you know, we're looking at $250 oil. But basically, Iran came out this week, and it was all over the television, that Ahmadinejad was celebrating as they presented him with a nuclear rod, all wrapped up and beautiful in a yellow bow and everything like that. So Iran is definitely getting very close to their goals. That should scare the rest of the world, mostly Israel and other countries within the Middle East. Israel is the main one, because the hatred towards Israel and towards the West from Iran is real. They absolutely hate with a passion. In fact, an article that came out last week was kill all the Jews and annihilate Israel. So the fact is that the more these sanctions that keep on hitting Iran, the more and more irate that they become. Do you honestly believe that Iran is going to turn around and say, okay, fine, take the sanctions away and we'll destroy all of our nuclear capabilities? Personally, I don't believe that there's any chance of that happening, and I believe that Iran is getting ready for war. It's showing up in the marketplace, even though the governments around the world, mostly the U.S. government, does not want to see oil prices get higher, so they do play their games in the market when they can. The bottom line is that the trend is always your friend, and the trend for oil is substantially higher. I do believe that oil is one of the better investments. You should have it in your RRSP. You can buy, which I've recommended for the last several months, USO, U.S. oil, and again, that's an ETF that could certainly help you get into the oil market. Again, I don't sell oil, I don't sell gold and silver. All I'm doing is recommending these markets because, again, that's where the major action is, and that's where you really need to be. And everything that we're talking about, the sovereign debt situation in Europe, the printing of money in the economy in the United States, and high oil prices and what's happening with war in the Middle East is all inflationary, which is the reason that you want to be in hard assets, because only hard assets like gold, silver, and diamonds will get you through these extremely difficult times. There's a reason why gold has gone from $250 to $1,900. There's a reason why silver's gone from $4 all the way up to $50. There's a reason why oil has gone from $18 all the way up to $150. The reason is that there's shortages in those markets and there's inflation coming, and when inflation really hits, if you're not in these markets, you will never ever catch them. I believe that silver is the best buy in the metals markets. Again, it's $17 below the high of $50, but I do believe with shortages in the silver market and other usages for silver, that there is no doubt that silver, in my opinion, will hit into the triple digits. $100 to $200 silver is certainly not out of the cards, and you're buying it right now below $34. Again, the situation in Iran is so severe that we could literally wake up one night and see the price of oil up $100 or more overnight. Iran, even though they could not match up to the United States warships and things like that, what they do have is that they have the ability to mine the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. is saying that they're going with their minesweepers and they'll get rid of them, but over 2,000 of these mines within the Strait of Hormuz would stop the insurance companies from insuring the freighters that are carrying oil, which again psychologically would raise the price of oil. Of course, the U.S. would come in with their minesweepers and try to get rid of the mines, but while they're doing that, Iran has got these speedboats loaded with missiles and artillery that would slam into these boats, and again, all hell will break loose. So this is not a good situation. Everything leads to extremely high inflation. And let me just say that if you do not have investments that will increase in value as inflation creeps higher, then your lifestyle is going to actually go backwards, because the fact is that if it costs more to fill your gas tank, heat your home, and almost everything we do revolves around oil, that's the most inflationary market there is. And gold and silver will respond to high inflation. That's why we believe that gold, silver, oil, and diamonds are the best investments you can make at this point. And if you want to get through these extremely difficult times, you should be in those markets as we speak.
Harold only recommends one company that you would deal with when it comes to investing in precious metals: gold, silver, platinum, palladium. Let them educate you about this market, precious metals. They're the experts in it. They've been in business over 10 years. Their name is Worldwide Precious Metals. Their website, www.pmc.com. To connect with them, their telephone number, 1-866-623-2002, 1-866-623-2002. Speak with them about getting our free weekly newsletter. As usual, it is the companion to our radio show and a must-read. You can go through it in 5 to 10 minutes. You could spend hours if you want to. I went through it on my smartphone this morning. We have our charts of the week. We have our quotes and quick hits. Information on diamonds and Harold's website, HS Fine Auctions. The next auction coming up February 27th. We'll talk about it later in the show. Also, gold, silver, quantitative easing, sovereign debt crisis, U.S. debt and deficit, oil and gasoline, the stock market, bonds, banking, real estate, and a huge section on geopolitical. It's a must-read every week. We'll send it out to you free of charge via email. Get your name on the list. 1-866-623-2002, www.pmc.com. Educate yourself as to why you need to be involved in these hard asset markets. Worldwide is the company Harold recommends you use. One of the stories I thought was quite interesting this week, and maybe I'll get to a quote first from Gerald Celente, who's very well known as an economist in the United States. He says, as we know, they, central bankers and planners, are going to do everything they can to drive the price of gold. It's not in their best interest for people to bail out of their worthless paper or digital money and buy something like silver and gold that's a real tangible asset, or even diamonds. That's why you're seeing the price of that, diamonds, going up as well. And that is definitely something a lot of people need to take into account. Hard assets. In fact, Robert Fitzwilson, he's a financial advisor out of the United States. He says the entire planet's financial system is at stake. He says, I've been doing this for almost 40 years, and this is an incredibly dynamic situation, but investors need to have a long-term view. Unfortunately, because of the mainstream media, people have adopted a trader's mentality, and that's ultimately destructive. I would describe our approach as being one of a turtle, because we believe there is going to be this massive transfer of wealth from paper to real assets. Investors need to have a large percentage of their assets in things that will survive and also prosper during this wealth transfer period. There is a wealth transfer going on all the time when you print money. If someone can tell me when the printing is going to stop, then I can tell you when to sell gold, but there's no evidence of that. In fact, the printing is accelerating. What historically triggers a problem is people come to the conclusion that money is no longer trustworthy, and at that point, you get the panic. Everybody tries to get out of paper into hard assets. So that's what's going on, and the vast majority of people don't realize that their money is being diluted every time the printing presses are called into action. Gradually, the currency is going down, but history tells us at some point in the future it accelerates, and then gold goes exponentially. But by the time everybody figures it out, it's too late. We've been educating people for a long time on our radio show, basically exactly what Robert Fitzwilson was saying. In fact, when I read that article, I sort of thought, I wonder if he's listening to our radio show. It's what Harold has been saying for a long, long time. The other situation I want to bring to your attention today, Art Cashin, and this is from BusinessInsider.com. It's in the newsletter. Forget Greece. Traders are worried about something that could send us back to the Middle Ages. And let me explain what it is first. It's a credit default swap. It's an agreement that the seller of a CDS will compensate the buyer in the event of a loan default. The buyer of the CDS makes a series of payments to the seller, and in exchange receives a payoff if the loan defaults. So when somebody goes to buy a bond, a Greece bond, a Greek bond, there is a CDS associated with it. And he's actually saying a Greek default has been on everyone's mind lately, but the traders Cashin has been talking to think that's just the tip of the iceberg. The bigger fear is what's happening in the credit default swap markets, CDS. No one knows how big it is, who the counterparties are, and worst of all, whether the CDS contracts will actually trigger in what many would consider a default in Greece. In fact, I was reading Bloomberg this morning, Harold, and they're waking up to this fact. There were quite a few stories on Bloomberg where they were saying they were trying to not trigger a default because they knew this potentially could happen and you could have a complete financial meltdown in the system. But the crazy thing is, and this is why people need to have an allocation of hard assets, gold, silver, diamonds, and that is because of the financial weapons of mass destruction that are out there that we know nothing of. Even the people who are selling and buying them know nothing of. And we could wake up one day, Harold, and this is my fear. We wake up one day and we find out the whole system is wiped out. The paper money system is wiped out due to these financial weapons that we know nothing of. It's a very scary scenario, but when somebody like Art Cashin, a well-known Wall Street money manager analyst, talks about it and traders are concerned about it, it's something that we should be concerned, but position ourselves to protect ourselves because this could happen at any time.
You bet. Again, it's so frightening to think that we could see some of the things that the experts are saying. I mean, total financial Armageddon, collapse. I mean, these are all words that are being used almost every single day in the reports that we're reading. So again, that's why I always say that where does a little guy have a chance in this? We're not the billionaires. We're not the Warren Buffetts of the world. We're just everyday hard-working Canadians, that had some success and put away a little bit of money. What chance do we have in these type of financial markets? I'll tell you the chance that we have is to go against the grain of what most other people are doing. We don't go into paper assets at this point because that's the area that's going to be wiped out the first. We saw it in 2000, in 1999, when the dot-com companies plummeted and everybody lost all of their money, and then again in 2008 when Lehman Brothers went under. We were, according to what the experts said, we were a couple hours away from total financial destruction because $4.5 trillion would have been taken out of the financial markets, meaning that people would have gone to the banks, taken all their money out because they were petrified, and buried the money in their backyard. That's how close we were to financial destruction in 2008. Evidently, we're in that same scenario again. So again, if we don't learn from history, history tends to repeat itself. If you remember, in 2008, the stock markets plummeted in half. Now, gold and silver did drop in sympathy with the stock markets, but then came back and made brand new highs. So again, we do believe that it's only a matter of time until we have a very similar scenario to what happened in 2008. I don't personally want to be caught up in that situation. You don't want to have any heavy leverage. You don't want to be speculating. You want to have protection. You want to have insurance against bad things happening to you. Again, as we talk about, if you have insurance on your home, your car, your health, and all that, you've got to have some type of insurance on your financial situation. We work way too hard to make one mistake that can wipe us out. And that's why I'm saying don't be in the paper asset markets because we know what could happen with them. Be in the gold market, be in the silver market, own them outright, be in the diamond market, have the type of assets that can be sold in other currencies that are safe assets that respond to inflation and these type of world problems. If you just sit there and do nothing, you're going to be like the other 90% out there that are going to get wiped out again like they did in 2008. Most of my clients did not get wiped out in 2008. In fact, most of my clients did extremely well. I didn't lose anything. I didn't have any leverage in real estate. I had no speculative real estate or anything like that, nor did hardly any of my clients. So again, the advice that we're giving you is very sound, and it's to be very, very safe in these markets. Don't speculate and don't take unnecessary risks, and go back in history and learn what markets have responded to these situations. You're going to see it's hard assets. Gold, silver, diamonds have always come through in these type of times.
Richard Russell says it best. A bitter pill to swallow. Austerity or inflation. Inflation is the central bank's method of avoiding the pain of austerity. Inflation is the current economic narcotic that is being used by modern nations. It's the old beggar thy neighbor system, and it will ultimately result either in all-out hyperinflation and a collapse of the fiat currency system or a corrective deflationary crash. Either way, the last currency standing will be gold. And that is the truth. We're seeing austerity over in Europe. Eventually, we'll have to see it in the United States. Either that or, and they're hesitant to do this in Europe right now, print money. And that is obviously the inflationary side of the scenario. Get our free weekly newsletter. Speak with Worldwide Precious Metals, 1-866-623-2002. Learn about investing in precious metals, wwpmc.com. Going to come back and talk about diamonds, also Harold's auction site, hsfineauctions.com. As the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on February 17th, 2012. Our time is 9:19 Mountain, 11:19 Eastern. Radio show runs AM 640 in Toronto, 630 CHED in Edmonton. For some reason, if you're driving along and you miss part of the show or you miss the show completely for whatever reason, go to Harold's website, hesradio.com, hesradio.com. The shows are archived there. They're doing a little bit of work on Harold's websites. So if for some reason one is down due to maintenance, feel free to come back immediately. The shows are at hesradio.com. Also Harold's website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. To invest in precious metals, Harold recommends one company, that is Worldwide Precious Metals. Their telephone number, 1-866-623-2002. The website, wwpmc.com, 1-866-623-2002. Let them educate you about investing in precious metals. They are the experts in this very specialized market. On the diamond side of things, Harold's website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. You can connect with Harold at 1-800-432-1022. He also has HS Auctions hsauctions.com. The next auction is Monday, February 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. We'll talk about that here shortly. Our featured diamond of the week, you'll see it at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, is a 1.03 carat oval cut, fancy, vivid, yellow, internally flawless diamond. This is a stunning diamond. You can see the video. All you need to do is go to Harold's website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, click on Featured Diamond of the Week. It's also in our newsletter. It is a stunning diamond. Harold's website, the only website with videos of the diamonds. And it adds a whole new component to it. It takes it to a whole new level. Since records were first kept at the beginning of the 70s, prices for the highest grades of colored diamonds have increased in value by an average of 10 to 15% per year, with rarer colors in higher grades enjoying the highest price appreciation. This appreciation has statistically been non-correlated to the stock and bond markets, meaning they move in different directions. An important consideration for investors seeking a diversified portfolio. And Harold, one of the quotes that we have in our newsletter this week, and we also have Sotheby's New York jewel sale, some auction results in there that are quite nice. But there's one quote that I thought was interesting from John Bianco, who's the director of Circa in Palm Beach. He says, "You can put $1 million worth of diamonds in your pocket and get on a plane, and no one will notice. There isn't too much else you can do that with. You can't really do that with money. You can't do that with bonds. You can't do that with gold, but you can do that with diamonds." Another great quote from Monica Kaufman, president of Kaufman Jewelers. "There's a value to diamonds you don't find in other investments. You can't melt a diamond, they don't burn, aren't made of paper, and they're very easy to transport." Harold, that's why we advocate in these financial times, geopolitical times that are so crazy, having a tangible, and that is a diamond that you can have in your portfolio.
You better believe it, Randy. It's one of the most important investments you could make at this particular point because it does so much for you. You know, not only is it an asset that increases in value, but it's also a private asset that, again, if some of these experts are right, you've got something that in your pocket that you can start all over again, sell in another currency. Again, we don't know what the future is going to bring until it comes. But the fact is that there's potential out there for financial destruction, and if you don't have these type of assets, you have no shot of getting through these financial times. You know, we've recommended certain diamonds to you over the last decade, and they've done extremely well. You know, certain diamonds have track records. Yellow flawless diamonds have track records. They go up by 25% a year. They double every 4 years. And in times of high inflation, they've gone up as much as 500% in 1979 and 80. We're looking at very, very similar situations. You know, we showed the featured diamond this week. It's a beautiful 103 oval, fancy, vivid yellow, internally flawless. Just so you know that there's many, many different colors of yellow. There's faint yellow. There's very light yellow. There's light yellow. There's fancy light yellow. And then there's fancy yellow, fancy intense, and fancy vivid yellow. Fancy vivid yellow being the highest color grade that the Gemological Institute of America will give to a diamond. So vivid is the very best color, and the featured diamond this week is a vivid, flawless diamond that, again, is one of the best investments you could ever make, and they're almost impossible to get. Diamonds of that caliber just go for an absolute fortune. Now, in 2011, Christie's in New York, on December the 13th, 2011, lot number 53, there was a 2.62 carat fancy vivid yellow marquee diamond ring. Now, it was not flawless. It was a VVS1, so very good quality, but not the internally flawless that we carry. Now, they estimated it would sell between 120 and 180,000, and if you're sitting down, the diamond sold for $962,500. Basically 6 times what they thought it was going to sell for. That was for a 262 fancy vivid yellow internally flawless diamond. If you go to my website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com this weekend, you're going to see, and you look in the loose diamond section, and you go to the yellow diamonds and go to and look at the 3 different colors, which are the fancy yellows, the fancy intense yellows, and the fancy vivid yellows. Go to the fancy vivid yellows, you'll see some smaller diamonds, but then you're going to see 2 brand new diamonds that I just had cut and polished. We bought them as rough diamonds. They were in the GIA for almost a year, and they've just come out. One of them is a 242 radiant fancy vivid yellow internally flawless, and the other is a 240 radiant fancy vivid yellow internally flawless. Both of those diamonds are basically the same size diamond that sold for $962,000 in New York last year. The difference is that these are internally flawless, and the one that sold in New York was not. And these 2 diamonds are basically in the $100,000 range. The one in New York sold at auction for $962,000. What we do for our clients is what no other firm does. First of all, we're the only true investment firm for colored diamonds, because not only do we only carry the very highest quality and caliber diamonds, but we're the only company that can resell them for you. So if you're buying diamonds, or if you are looking at diamonds as an investment, and you should be, but you're comparing prices with other firms, you really have to know the diamond market, because again, the most important thing in the diamond is the color. And the way the GIA will grade a diamond, it could be a fancy vivid yellow flawless, but there's a scale from 1 to 10. And if it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, like is out there with other competitors of ours, they're just like lighter, fancy intense diamonds. You want the really deep. Ours are 8s, 9s, and 10s out of 10s, and those are the only diamonds that I will resell on my auction site. So again, if you are purchasing diamonds through our competitors, that's well and good. There's nothing wrong with competition. Just make sure that they're carrying the quality of diamonds that you need to resell, and that they're able to resell those diamonds for you. We're going to have our next auction, because I also own hsfineauctions.com, and our next auction is going to be on February the 27th. Now, when you go to HS Fine Auctions, you can go to the Getting Started section, and you just fill out the forms, and you will be allowed to actually bid when the auction does start. So you should do this a few days in advance. In actual fact, by next week, if you go to the catalog, you will see all of the items that are going to be offered. And at this next auction, I believe I'm going to auction off 6 or 7 very rare, amazing coin sets. 2 kilo, 2 individual silver coins that are a kilo each. One is the Year of the Monkey. It's got a diamond in the eye, and the other is the 2004 Libertad, and it's an amazing diamond. On top of that, I've also got a Tiffany coin with real Tiffany glass, totally sold out. I mean, you could never get another one of these. We've got such amazing pieces coming up for this next auction. You definitely want to participate in the auction. The other thing is that we're probably going to have 7 or 8 of the most amazing diamonds. So this auction that's coming up on February the 27th. It's at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. You definitely want to sign in early, and you definitely want to be on time to start bidding on some of these amazing products. We are the only company that has a real-time live auction website, and I built this for my clients to resell diamonds. The next 5 years, we anticipate our clients making a fortune in the diamond market. But again, there's some great deals available. As we're building this new business, this is going to be our 4th auction. But again, as we are just building a brand new business, there are some phenomenal deals. The clients, the products that are being sold at a profit, but the people that are buying them at this point are buying the items at phenomenal prices. So again, we're very, very excited about this. We've got some amazing diamonds coming up, including a beautiful green diamond ring and some beautiful argyle pinks. Now, the diamonds that you want to own at this particular point, yellow flawless diamonds. I just invested, and I've said this before, a tremendous amount of money into rough yellow diamonds. In fact, last year in 2011, we bought out all of the rough diamonds of high quality. So we bought these rough diamonds, and then we gave them to our cutters in Antwerp that have been cutting and polishing these diamonds for the last year. And then they go to New York to the Gemological Institute of America, where they do a full grading on these diamonds. Now, even though we buy all these parcels of these yellow diamonds, very, very few of them turn out to be internally flawless diamonds. The ones that are not internally flawless, we sell off to jewelers and other dealers around the world. The very high-end yellow flawlesses are put away for my clients. Now, we put up a lot of money last year, and we did this to buy out the entire yellow diamond market, which is an extremely small market. Last year, there was only about 120 diamonds that were internally flawless, that were fancy yellow, fancy intense, and fancy vivid yellow for the entire planet. 120 diamonds, and that was it, and we sold 90% of those. Now what we did, because this is such a tiny little market, and I have so many clients that are interested in these assets, is that we bought all of the yellow rough diamonds, and we've cut them all, and now they're starting to show up on the website. They've just come out of GIA. These are brand new, beautiful, flawless diamonds that nobody has seen. Why do you want to own these diamonds? Because, number one, they're portable private wealth. They never, ever go down in value. They double in price every 4 years, and during times of high inflation, they've gone up 500% in 2 years. That means a diamond that you can buy today for $20,000 will be a $100,000 diamond within the next 5 years. We anticipate with inflation. Even if inflation did not hit, these diamonds will still go up by 25% every year. In fact, we haven't had our price increase yet, and we will definitely have a 25% increase in colored diamonds, yellow flawlesses, starting in September. Now with the world the way that it is, with the fear of countries going bankrupt and currencies going under, and the potential of financial Armageddon and the chaos and everything that is happening all over the world because of the financial markets, this is an asset that could literally save your financial life. By putting away a diamond, again, that never falls in price, as Randy said at the beginning of the show, $1 million worth of diamonds can fit in your pocket and nobody would even know boo about it. But a 1-carat yellow flawless diamond that you can buy for $18,000 or $20,000 in 5 years from now could easily be worth $100,000. It did it in 1979 and 80. There's absolutely no reason that it won't do it again. And again, the reason that I bought out all of these rough yellow diamonds was to create a shortage in the market, and that's exactly what will happen. The whole year's supply of yellow diamonds will be on my website within the next week and a half to 2 weeks. In fact, over this last week, we probably put up 20 or 25 new yellow diamonds. Get these diamonds while you can. Get them before the price increase in September, and again, mostly get them before these financial markets erupt. If we wake up one morning and find out that Israel and Iran have gone at it, and the financial markets are in disarray, and things are going crazy, and oil's going to 250, and everything's happening at one time, you don't want to start to buy the markets at that point. If we're going to make money in these markets, if you're convinced that this is the way that you should go, then we should do it at this particular point. Number one, we want you to buy them before they go up, and it's not us necessarily that is raising the prices by 25%. It's the cutters of the diamonds that buy them from the mines, because there's so few diamonds coming out of the mine. I think what you're going to find this year is we're going to have just shy of 100 yellow flawless diamonds, and that's for the entire planet. I take care of my Canadian clients first, and they're first available to the listeners to our radio show. So again, pay attention. Go to the website rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Go to the loose diamond section and look at our videos on our beautiful yellow flawless diamonds. These are amongst the best investment diamonds that you'll ever get. And again, a whole year's supply will be on my auctions on my website, and I can pretty well assure you that we will sell almost every one of these diamonds within the next 60 days. So get them while we can, put them away, and what many clients are looking to do at this point while we have this opportunity, and that's why I've done this, you can buy multiple diamonds. I've got clients that are buying 3, 4, 5 diamonds at one time. If you need to barter, if you need to change one for currency, if you need to do anything, if you need to start all over again, you want to have multiple diamonds if you can afford them. If you're sitting in stocks and bonds and you're as nervous as I am about that market, you want to get out of that market at this point. Take the risk away and put some of it into an asset like a rare colored diamond. They never ever fall in price. The other diamonds that you want to buy are the Argyle pink diamonds. Again, the mine that produces them, the Argyle mine in Australia, produces 95% of the world's pink diamonds. It's going to close before 2018. In fact, it could close by 2016, which is only 4 years from now. Give it 2 years for these diamonds to run out. You could literally see the price of Argyle pink diamonds increase 800 to 1,000% over the next 6 to 8 years. We saw that happen with blue diamonds. We're going to see it happen with pinks. We are auctioning off some pink diamonds on February the 27th, and you definitely want to attend our auction at HS Fine Auctions. We've got some beautiful gold pieces, silver pieces, some of the most amazing coin sets that you have ever seen, and we've got some magnificent pink and green diamonds. So far, we have not auctioned a yellow diamond off because, again, at this point here, most people are hoarding their yellow diamonds. They don't want to sell them because, again, the next 5 years we anticipate making a fortune in that market. But there are diamonds available at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. These are brand new diamonds just coming out of GIA, and nobody has seen them yet, and these are the diamonds that you really want to buy. And again, they're reasonable. They're under $20,000 in most cases. Again, there's clients that are buying 3, 4, 5 of them at a time and just tucking them away for safety. Again, we've got to be cautious, and we need to have insurance against a market like the stock markets and the paper markets around the world and the currency markets that could literally implode and leave you overnight with absolutely nothing. If you've been listening to this radio show for 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, whatever, you know that we've been very accurate in our calls in these markets. Nothing is more important right now than protecting ourselves against the onslaught of what's going to happen over the next short while. Again, just look at what's happening at auction and see what's happening with the price of diamonds. They're literally going ballistic at auction. In fact, I shared with you what happened with that Vivid. It was supposed to go from 120 to 180. It went for 962. Now, the two Vivids that I have, the 240 and the 242, are in the 100,000 range, so it is right in line with the estimates. But again, look what happened at auction. It went for 600% more than what they predicted. There was other diamonds that did equally as well. There was the Burden diamond, which was a marquee cut fancy vivid yellow VS1 diamond weighing 13 carats. It was supposed to go for 650 to 750,000. It went for $3.3 million, and it was a VS1. Go figure that. A fancy vivid yellow diamond that was 5 carats, again a VS2, not a flawless, was supposed to sell for about $1 million, and that's what it sold for at auction. And then the Vivid Pinks this year. I mean, there was one that was supposed to sell for $5 million. It sold for $10,776,000 in 2009, and the Graph Pink that was supposed to sell for $27 million sold for $46. You don't have to buy multi-million-dollar diamonds. Most of my clients that invest in the diamond market are buying diamonds in the $20,000 to $50,000 range. And again, it's one of the best investments you could ever make, especially having insurance against the potential of markets that we could wake up one morning in the near future and find out that we've lost a major part of our money. We do not want to see that happen to our listeners. Please take my advice. Go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com and look at our array of fancy yellow, fancy intense, and fancy vivid yellow flawless diamonds.
RareColoredDiamonds.com, the website. You can speak with Harold as well, 1-800-432-1022. His auction website, hsfineauctions.com. Next auction, Monday, February 27th, 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain. Get our newsletter from Harold. We have in our newsletter our featured diamond of the week. It's on the website as well. It's a 1.03 carat oval cut, fancy, vivid, yellow, internally flawless diamond. We also have auction results. Sotheby's important jewel sale from New York last week, February the 9th. They had an auction, some very, very nice prices for diamonds at auction. As well, there was a story that I found on investing in diamonds from the Palm Beach Daily News. I read a couple of quotes already from John Bianco and Monica Kaufman, but there's a real interesting quote in this article from Tobina Com. Vice President of the House of Kahn Estate Jewelers in Chicago. She said many clients are beginning to see the purchase of large diamonds as a way to preserve their wealth. She tells the story of a client who lost a fortune in the markets and told her husband not to buy stocks or bonds. She wanted a diamond instead, and a big one. So people are seeing specific events that are going on in the United States and around the world and saying, gee, I want something that I can see, touch, and feel, and is a store of wealth. You can read that article in our newsletter as well. In the newsletter, we have a section, hsfineauctions.com, and Herald released a press release, I guess it was earlier in the week. Limited edition Oprah pendant sells for $35,000 on January 16th, 2012. hsfineauctions.com sold one of the limited edition O pendants, a much coveted piece of jewelry. Only 100 of these pendants were produced worldwide, with the pink diamonds coming from Rio Tinto's Argyle mine in Australia. This exclusive piece of jewelry received 29 bids in under 6 minutes and sold for $35,000 US, reflecting the increasing appreciation of the value of rare colored diamonds. Herald's next auction, don't miss it. February 27th, 8 Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. And Herald, if people just for the first time want to come in, register, and just watch and not bid, they can do that just to sort of build up their confidence before maybe placing a bid or placing a bid in the future at a future auction. We're trying to make things very comfortable for people, so there's no pressure that you would have to bid the first time that you took part in an auction, right?
100% correct, Randy. In fact, at the last auction, 200 people were watching and 60 people were bidding. So, that's perfectly fine with me. I would do exactly the same thing. But again, I've been in business a long, long time. A lot of people know me. I've been on the radio for over 30 years, and I've been on the radio in Canada for over 15 years. So, again, hsfineauctions.com is the only auction site of its kind. There's never been a live, real-time auction site. And when I built the site, I insisted on the fact that it was verbal, and I was able to sell every product myself. And the only items that I will sell on my auction site are items that I guarantee 100%. That's why I will not sell diamonds or any other products from outside sources, because I don't know where they came from and what they are. I've built this for my clients to resell their high-end collectibles. There's never been a site like this. I'm extremely proud of it. And again, we've barely even advertised it yet. We've only had 3 auctions. I like to work out the kinks and make sure everything before I advertise it. But there will be times that there will be thousands of people on the auction site getting ready to bid. So again, we built this for our clients to resell their high-end collectibles. This next auction is going to be sensational. There's some unbelievable gold and silver coin sets being offered. There's a religious set being offered. There's 2 coin sets that are kilo coins, just some absolutely beautiful coin sets, and again, some magnificent diamonds. So again, be ready for it. It's on February the 27th, 8 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Mountain. All you need to do is go to the site at any time, sign up. Next week, you'll be able to view the catalog in person. You're going to see all the amazing items that we're putting up. And again, I'm sure you're going to enjoy this. People that have been bidding for the last 3 auctions are saying that they're loving it and they're almost getting addicted to it. It's that much fun.
Once again, hsfineauctions.com, auction February 27, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. RareColoredDiamonds.com, telephone number 1-800-432-1022 to invest in precious metals. Speak with Worldwide Precious Metals. Their telephone number 1-866-623-2002. You can obviously get our free weekly newsletter from Herald or Worldwide, because we have a show here today with so much information we could probably do 3 hours instead of 1 hour.
Right.
We have the newsletter, and it's a must-read. Get it from Worldwide or Herald. I thought it was, we have about a minute left. I thought it was interesting, a quote from the Aiton sisters. 2012 started off with a bang. Gold and silver had their best start to a new year since '83. This is an ongoing debt crisis that practically guarantees a higher gold price for years to come. Also, Societe Generale saying that QE3 is coming. Saw Jim Rickards on Bloomberg the other day. He says quantitative easing, it's here, it's going to continue. Harold, with about 15, 20 seconds left, that's a huge positive for precious metals beyond all the things we've spoken about on today's show.
You bet. In fact, two of the biggest moves in precious metals came with QE1 and QE2. So, again, we're looking forward to it. We know it's coming. I want to wish everybody a wonderful weekend, a nice long weekend. Enjoy Family Day, and have a very profitable day. And we'll talk to you again next week.
Learn about investing in precious metals. Educate yourself. The only company Harold recommends to deal with is Worldwide Precious Metals, wwpmc.com. Telephone number 1-866-623-2002. RareColoredDiamonds.com. Speak with Harold at 1-800-432-1022 and hsfineauctions.com. The auction February 27, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. That's it. Another edition of the World Financial Report on radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.